Hi, back today with another Smartdoll tutorial. We're going to be doing a lovely little fringed bag here, which you can't quite see. Let me move it over. Tosi's modelling it here for me. We've been in the garden and just done some photos, so it's looked quite nice, so I'm quite pleased. She does have a matching hat, but the tutorial today is only for the little bag. It's quite simple, very granny square-ish sort of style of system, and I think suitable for most people to be able to do. So I'm going to pop that one down and we're going to pop Tosi to one side while we have a little look at what we need. We have a 4-ply mercerized cotton. I have a 3mm crochet hook, our scissors, of course, 2 different yarn needles. I'll show you why at the end. And as you can see, I've already done half of it. It is quick, but obviously you don't want to see me do 2 of the same thing. So I've done one half, I'm going to do the other half now and then show you how to actually crochet it together. So we might as well get going. Let's have a look if I can find the end of the yarn. That is really helpful. So our slip knot. If you're not sure on some of these basic techniques, if you are new to this, just pop back to my other videos and it'll give you a little bit of a reminder. So on the hook, and we're going to do 6 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to join those chains. So by placing the hook into the first chain, grabbing the yarn and pulling it through and pulling it through again. So it is actually only a slip stitch we've done. Now I said granny square before, that is going to make you think of trebles. These are actually half trebles to keep the stitch a little shorter. So half treble, I'm going to do 2 chain, counts as our first stitch. I'm going to wrap the yarn into the center, pull it through. I have the 3 loops on my hook. Now if we were going to do a treble, as you know, we'd be coming through 2 and then through 2, but for a half treble you grab your yarn and you pull it through all 3. Yarn round the hook in the hole, pull it through, yarn through all 3. You don't have to do all 3 at once, you can do 1 or 2 at a time as long as it's all on the same system. So I'm going to do 2 chain. There's going to be 2 chain between each of these at the moment. I'm going to go in, I'm going to pull it through. Remember, we have 3 on the hook. I want to come through all 3. Yarn round into the hole in the center. Want to pull through all 3. I'm going to speed up just for a second on this. I will keep going back to what the half treble is if you're not sure. So I've done 2 chain and I need 3 half trebles. And that's 3, it's 2 chain. Don't worry even about the center because I'm going to tighten it up in a few minutes. So that's 2, 3. So it's basically 3 half trebles, 2 chain, 3 half trebles, 2 chain. To make sure we've got 5 sets. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be a granny square. We don't want a square. We need 5 sides. Oh, nearly did a treble. It's very easy to do trebles if you've been doing them as well. So keep an eye on that because you might do 1 treble, 1 half treble, and that's not good. You get a funny shape if you do that. Right. Now, it would be 2 chain here, but I don't want it to be wide. So I'm actually going in to the top of that first stitch and I'm just going to do a DC. I don't like big spaces on my joins. I've tightened up that original string. Can you see how it's tightened it up? Again, 2 chain, it's a half treble. You need to find the space between these 2, 3 sets of trebles. So we're there. In you go. Half treble. Now remember that is the third one because those 2 chain counted as our first one. 2 chain. This is a corner. Now the only time you are now going to do any chain from now on is on the corners. Each corner will be 3 half trebles. Pull the yarn up a bit. 2 chain, 3 half trebles, all into the same hole, exactly like you would with the granny square corner, just that we've got an extra corner, that's all. So no chain here, just jump straight into the next 2 chain space and give me 3 half trebles, 2 chain, 3 half trebles. So you can see the corners forming. No chain here, just jump straight to that corner space. We have 3 half trebles, 1, 2 chains, 3 half trebles, all into the same space. Now I'm really hoping the dog is not going to start barking, because we have got them digging up the road outside and we're on the main road, so I can hear it. I'm hoping it's not going to be too noticeable on here. I'm hoping the microphone is going to actually filter it out. If not, I'll be doing a second video. So this is my last corner. So like in all the other corners, there is going to be 3 half trebles, 2 chain, 3 half trebles. We're on a join now. I'm going to do the same as last time, popping into the top of that first of those 2 chains you did right at the beginning, and I'm going to do a double crochet this time. 2 chain. You see, I nearly did it. You might see me do trebles. I'm a nightmare for slipping from one to the other. Now this is a side. Now you can see the corners. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 corners. Now in the corners it's going to be the 3 half trebles, 2 chain, 3 half trebles. But on the sides it would just be 3 half trebles. Okay, so no chain, remember, unless it's in the corner. So I'm now going to jump to my corner and do what I've just said. 3 half trebles, 2 chain. I can hear her grumbling, and I think the neighbours will be grumbling as well because they're digging up all the paths. It's not great. So the next one is a side one. So if it's a side one, it is just 3 half trebles. So 2 and 3. The next one is a corner, so we jump to that corner and you're going to do 3 half trebles, 2 chain because it's a corner, and 3 half trebles. Okay, next one's a side, so it's just 3 half trebles. Corner next. Just a reminder on those half trebles, we wrap the yarn like a treble into the space, we pull it through. We have 1, 2, 3 on the hook. We grab the yarn and pull it through all 3. So we have 3 of those, 2 chain, 3 of those, 1, 2 and 3. Next one is a side, so it's just 3 half trebles. Can you see what I'm doing with my half trebles? Rather than pulling them all through at once, I'm inclined to go 2, 1. I'll do that again. So I yarn round, in, pull through. I sort of go 2, 1. Doesn't matter as long as it comes through all 3. I've just found that for some reason an easier way to do it. Look, you'll see me do it all the time, but when I'm doing it faster it may not be as noticeable. Every now and again, look, I can pull them through all 3, but I do seem to have a tendency to pick on doing it like that, especially if the stitch is a bit more tricky, it's in an awkward position or something. But it doesn't really matter as long as it goes through all 3. Side again. You'll see I'm alternate. I've just noticed myself how sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Back to a corner. This is our last corner for this point. So 3 half trebles, 2 chain, 3 half trebles. Let me just check. Yes, I did 2. At least half trebles and trebles are quite easy to count. So like I said before, I'm going to go into the top of that first 2 chain and I'm going to do a double crochet. As you can see, it just makes it a little bit tighter, because if I'd done 2 chain and double back, it would have made it look very clumsy. So 2 chain. This is a side, remember, because we've made 2 sides now, 2 sets for sides. So this is actually your last row. So just check your corners. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. As I said, they're the only ones that will have the sets of 3 treble, 2 chain, 3 treble. Anything else just has 3 half trebles. I said treble, didn't I, a minute ago? You have to excuse me. Just remember, if I say treble at all, there is no trebles in this at all. They are all half trebles. So if I've said treble, it's just because I've gone back into autopilot. I do try not to, but no matter when I'm teaching, I still do it. All right, so that was a corner. Now, can you see we have 2 spaces now for sides? So if it's a side, it's just 3 half trebles if you don't lose it on the stitch. That's 1, 2, and 3. This is just a side again, so 3 half trebles. But my next one's a corner. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 2 chain, 1, oh, won't go through, 2 and 3. So after every corner you will have 2 sets of side ones. So if it's just a side one, it's just 3 half trebles. 1, 2. That was actually 3. I don't know why I counted 2. There we go. 3. Back to a corner again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2 and 3. So that's 3 half trebles again. So remember, side is just half trebles. 3 in each space. That's 1. The spaces are always between just a set of 3 half trebles, so that if you're not sure where they are, just sort of separate them out a bit. I'll show you on the next side actually. That's 2, that's 3, 1, 2 chain, 1, 2, 3. Right, so as what I was saying is, look, you've got 1, 2 and 3 trebles there. So that, I'm doing it again, half trebles. So that means you've got a space. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 half trebles, space. So if you can't, with a cotton, you can usually see the space. If you were using a acrylic yarn or a fluffy yarn, you would find that harder to see. So you just gauge it on that. So here we go, half trebles. That's 1 set for the side. Notice there's no chain between these. Don't put any chains between anything unless it's a corner. Keeps your work nice and tight. 2, 3, 2 chain, 1, 2, we're about there, and 3. Now I'm going to join it again, but this time I'm actually going to join it with a slip stitch because it's my last round. So I will do a slip stitch. I'm not going to do a DC. So there we go. Tighten up just by pulling that bit. Now for the first one, I fastened off. I sewed all my ends in, so you can see there's no ends or anything. I don't want to fasten off with this because we're going to continue using the yarn to join the two together. But what I am going to do is I'm going to continue with my slip stitches. Remember, a slip stitch, it goes in, you just pull the yarn and then through the loop. I'm going to go in the space. I prefer to go in the spaces. There we go. This should give you about 8. It's only an approximate. Don't over worry about it. So they're just slip stitches. So in, pull through. Don't pull through. That didn't work, did it? I'll do it slower. In, pull through, in, pull through, pull through. The next one's a corner. I'm not going to go into it yet. So that there is the entrance to the bag, the opening to the bag, should I say. So I need to get rid of this because when we sew the bag, well, we're not going to sew the bag actually, when we crochet the bag together, we will find it difficult. Excuse me a minute while I do that. You will find it difficult to then sew up without having to turn it inside out, etc, etc. I'm not going to be able to get this through now. Go in. Not playing. There we go. So I'm just going to get rid of this little bit of extra yarn here, and all I'm doing is just threading it through around and round that circle. You may have picked that up while you were crocheting, but I still like to do a little bit extra just in case. I don't like my work coming undone. So there we go. So nearly knocks your toesy off. That would have been upsetting. So back to this. As I said, we've not fastened off. We've still got the loop. We've still got our yarn. We're going to take our second one, turn it over, because we need to make sure this is the right side showing, not right side. And you can see wrong side. It is a little bit different. Can you see? So what we're going to do is we're going to do both wrong sides together. Choose a corner. And all I'm going to do is holding the two together. It's a bit tricky to start with. When you get going, it's okay. I'm going to go through that corner, but then through the corner, can you see, on the other side. I'm then going to grab my yarn and pull it through and do a double crochet. Because it's a corner, I want 3 double crochets. So I'm going back into that hole. Look, can you see, all the way through to both pieces, double crochet, all the way through both pieces, double crochet. Now the trick now is trying to get these lined up. If your stitches are pretty accurate, it won't be a problem. And again, with cotton, it's a lot easier to see, but don't over stress about it, as long as you don't sort of pucker it up or anything. So I'm just doing a double crochet, but I'm going through, let me separate it up. So I've gone through both the loops on this one, but then I also want both the loops on the other side. So it's actually 1, 2, 3, well, it should be 4. Why have I got 3? Oh, that's because that's mat 1. I've actually gone through 4. You need to go through 4. I hope it, I'm trying not to blur. I hope you can see that okay. Pull it through and do a double crochet. So this time I like to go in the spaces. You don't have to, you can pick up the stitch. This is just a personal preference. I'm going to go through both holes. You can see this one, it's easy. You can see it's gone through both. Pick it up and do a double crochet. So I've got 1, 2 double crochets over the half treble into the space, 1 double crochet. I've got 1, 2 over my half trebles, 1 into the space. Now you might be thinking, but there's 3 half trebles. It's okay, because remember that we never put a chain or anything in that space. There's a nothing, so it's still counting as 3 stitches. Don't worry about the maths, it works. That's all you need to know. So we're going to go to, if you're used to crocheting things together, this won't be an issue. You don't need to watch me do this. Perhaps it's a corner, so I want 3 double crochets. I'm going to have 1, 2, 1 in the space. Like I say, a lot of people don't go in the space. I just find it neatens it, and I think the work looks nicer that way. If you're not sure, look, can you see that's moved over a bit? Just give it a little stretch, make sure it's hole over hole. It also makes sure you position it right by doing that. Make sure we're picking up all 4. Oh, like I said, the beauty of cotton is you can see it a little bit better than you can with just an acrylic yarn or a wool. Right, look, because I double checked, I've got 4. I'm pulling it through. I have the corner next, so I have 1, 2 and 3. I need 2, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet into the space. Make sure you are getting the space at the other side, so check where your hook is going through and pull it through. So again, picking up 2 from one side, 2 from the other side, so you need 4, and pull it through. If you're not used to doing it, check every time. It's like now I'm like, oh, I can't really see that hole. Can't see it. It's there. And the hole on the other side's there. Double check. It takes a second. Oh, it's fallen out. It takes a second to check it. It's a nightmare to undo. So it's best to just check. So I've got 1, 2 over my half trebles, 1 into my space. I'm about to come to another corner. It's shuffled a bit, so I need to double check it. Let's have a look. You can see where the corners are, so they've got to be lined up, and then that helps you see where your stitches are. 1, 2 into the corner. I've got 1, 2, 3. Now I've only got 1 more side. Don't go all the way around, otherwise you're not going to have a bag opening. So I'm picking it up again. 1, 2, space. 1, 2, space. I think I'm actually keeping this more to the center for once. I'm trying hard. Problem being is I end up having to sort of stretch my arms out to crochet, which is not a comfortable position really. I'm inclined to crochet quite close to my body, but without putting it on my head, I think that would be a bit difficult to watch. So that's why I'm trying to do it this way around. So apologies if it does go off screen. It shouldn't really be a problem because most of it's repeated, so it's sort of I might have said X amount of stitches and then I might move it down a bit. it won't matter as long as you sort of listen to what I've said there. Any problems though, please let me know, because I'm learning on this YouTube as well, and it's always good to hear any sort of positive or constructive criticism, should we say. Can you have positive criticism? I suppose you can. You know, so there's a way of doing it. So as you can see, it's joined. Yeah, you'll find one side the stitching sticks one way, the other side the other way. So I always like that as the front, because I like to see the chain of my double crochet. So I'll count that as my front. Now we need a handle. So without fastening off, without stitching in, we're just going to go straight for the chain. Now for a chain, again, if you're not sure, remember, just grab the yarn around the hook, pull it through, grab, pull, grab, pull, grab, pull. I'm going to go a little bit faster because otherwise you'll be fed up of watching me do this. Now again, it's better to do a slow chain and a neat chain, because if you rush, the size of these chains will change and your work will then look a little bit untidy. Keep moving your fingers up. Now I actually did 80 chain for the bag that you can see on the table. I am not counting at all with this. That's a little bit hard to hold sometimes, but don't let go of this bit. Doesn't matter if that drops, if you can put up with it. Obviously, if you were sat on your knee or something like that, it's much easier. So let's go a little bit quicker. You can never go quick when someone's watching you. Keep moving that finger up. Keep your tension there. Otherwise, you will lose your tension. Oh, it does not want to stay on my hook. That's because I'm trying to rush it. Well, I tell you what, just for viewing purposes, I'm going to finish it there. You can see it's shorter than that one. But basically, just to show you on the attachment, I will take this off in a little while and make it a little bit longer. But basically, go to the opposite side. Now, I'm not going in the hole. I'm picking up one of those double crochets that I did. Can you see? And I'm going to pull it through, and I'm actually going to do a slip stitch. So you can see the bag handle is attached. I'm going to lengthen that handle after the fact, so I'm actually going to undo it. But going back to this one, you can see I've just chained all the way up and just done a slip stitch join there. It's nice and firm that way. You've got no stitching that way, so it's quite nice because it saves your job as well. Now, the only other thing I have extra on this, which you don't have to add the tassels. I think it looks quite nice without it. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of this yarn, because I'm going to have to pull some off so I can carry on doing that chain. And all I'm doing, doesn't have to be too long. If it's longer, it makes it easier to work with, but there again, you're wasting yarn. So what, say 8 inches. So I'm going to cut 3 pieces at approximately 8 inches long. I think that's longer than 8 inches actually, but doesn't matter. I'm sure somebody will be able to tell me otherwise. Right, so basically I have 3 threads. I'm folding them in half, and this is why I said about a larger hold needle. I don't like using these for sewing up because it can pull at your work, but for certain things they are important. So I'm going to just thread these through, which you can see this is where we need a larger one because they don't always want to go in. Right, so make sure they're nice and flat again. Yeah, we're okay with that. And from the front, it does make a difference if you go in from the back. I'm going to go in from the front, and I'm choosing that center double crochet, and I'm pulling them all through. Take my needle out. Take the 3 loops and make sure you have got all loops, because otherwise you will actually lose your tassel. If not, you'll have to start again. Grab the other pieces and just pull them through. Pull them nice and tight. If you're really worried about this, you can put a little bit of fabric glue on perhaps, but be careful because you don't want it to show maybe on the back. But it should, if you pulled it tight enough, and again, most cotton yarn is really sort of hard wearing, it should be okay, so don't worry about that. And then it's a case of just trimming it off to where you wanted. Now you'll see mine are a little bit crinklier. The only reason being is this isn't something you have to do, if I separate these out now, you can see that there, I'm just taking my needle at the very top and I'm splitting the strands of the yarn. Don't do this fast. If you do this fast, you will knot it and it won't work. You need to get the split. You want it to split naturally. So take your time. Look, you see, there we go. Sometimes it do it really easy. Sometimes it does take a little bit of fiddling. That's just on a single strand there. So if I can pick up the other one. Is it going? Can you see how if you're not careful it can actually? There we go. I've got it. Another one. Little time consuming. Again, you don't have to do it. You don't have to add tassels. But I just think it gives it a slightly better effect. This one's not going. There you go. It's always the same when someone's watching you. It decides it's not working. Right, so we have, what? There was the 6. There we go. Look at that. It gives a nice tassel-y texture. One more. Come on. Well, thankfully, those builders have been quiet. I can sort of hear them. I can just hear a buzzing outside. Like I say, I'm really hoping it's not going to come across. But as you can see, it just gives it a slightly sort of wiggly effect on that. That one should have been a little bit more, but it gives you an idea on what you're doing. I've just added the 3. If you really wanted to get fancy, you could add them all the way down. A full tassel bag would look really nice. Don't trim them though until you've put them all on, because you want to get the angle or a straight across trim. So when you've put them all on, you've got your long threads, just brush it all down and decide on the shape that you want, whether you want to angle it or whether you want it straight across. Because if you cut one and then you try and do the next one, it won't work. So I would recommend you do them all and then that's it. So basically, this is our little Smartdoll or similar sized doll. Now I have made this, as some of you may have seen. I have done them for my Cindy's and I have done them for Pippa's. So the same pattern can be used depending on what yarn. There is less rounds on theirs because they are tinier, but essentially we have got them. Give me a second and I will try and, oh, that's not rattling, I will find it. I'm back. So I'm rattling now because I'm putting my microphone back on. Right, so this is the size of the Pippa one. It's approximately the same pattern. It does only have 2 rows and then stitching together because it's a lot tinier. It's also done in a number 8 cotton from Anchor, and it's also using a 1mm crochet hook, so slightly different. But it just shows that from roughly the same thing, you can get 2 different sizes. So hope you enjoyed that. Shitosi can come back on and collect her bag now. There we go. Let's have a little lie down there. So the only thing, again, from this angle, it's hard to sort of photograph her because of her size. So there she can have a bag back now. And you'll see the photos at the beginning of this. So I hope you enjoyed that. Any comments, please say. Remember, if you do need to slow down my work, there is a setting on there. Or if you just have to play it back. But any problems, give me a shout. Please like, subscribe and share. And I will see you very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.